Buffalo FAMbase coverage of the 2022 NFL Draft, on the official multimedia network of Bills Mafia. Tune into Bank It with the Back Door, the place to hear great sports content and win money. With host, Jason Malloy.
Currently, we've got the draft coming up. We've got baseball in full swing at the Jackie Robinson Day, important day.
Every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Hello. How we doing, folks? My name's @JDon'tFade, Jason Malloy, government name. Today, we're going to talk Buffalo Bills. We're going to dive right into it. Okay, we got a lot of interesting stuff going on. Nothing crucial to the importance of this here, knock on wood, Super Bowl season. However, there's a lot of stuff going on in Bills land. Well, not so much in Bills land. Involving former and, some current, not current, but previously current members of the Buffalo Bills. Recently, I guess is probably the best way to say it. Recently, current members of the Buffalo Bills. Not our draft picks this week, folks. We are going to get into some betting later on as well, just give you a little forecast. So we're going to first start with an interesting story from a former Bill who some of us probably liked. Probably like this, I guess you could say, like his style, his aggressiveness, his play to an extent for a short period of time. Some of us probably hated him. I didn't hate him. Obviously, I don't really hate anybody, any football player that's just trying to do his job and figure out what's going on and be successful, of course, for themselves and their family. But definitely not fan favorite, I guess is the best way to put it. So we'll dive right in. First story, Marcel Dereus is trying to come back to the NFL. I'm not laughing because him not having success. I'm just never thought I would see that, in this last, when I woke up and my head came off the pillow the last couple of days. Marcel Dereus. I was wondering what happened to him. I have that, I don't know if, obviously as a diehard Bills fan, I'm sure a lot of listeners here probably can, associate with what I'm saying here. But you think about random Bills players throughout the year, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like one now. I don't know, Jordan Matthews or someone like that, EJ Gaines, random players you think of are like players from childhood. Roscoe Parrish, on the more successful side, Lee Evans, one of my favorite players, probably my favorite Bill growing up, probably the first Bill that I really watched and really like, I don't want to say fell in love with, but, really watched, was like, wow, I like this game. This is fun. Watching him play, the way that he plays this game is fun, But Marcel Dareus, a player that not a lot of us probably had on the forefronts of our mind or on the tip of our tongue. However, he's trying to make a comeback. It's with the Baltimore Ravens. So I guess if he's picking an organization where you could, probably prosper as a defensive player, it's going to be the Ravens system. Ravens have always had really a pretty stern and solid top 15, usually probably top 10, maybe even top 5, usually defense, reoccurring year after year, as recent as I can remember. To be honest with you, it's hard to remember the last year they didn't have a pretty solid, good defense. They've always kind of been under Coach Harbaugh and the previous regime. Brian Billick, I want to say, they had a decent defense as well. They just know how to put them together. There has been some coaching changes there, but apparently John Harbaugh has said that he has impressed in the rookie minicamps. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see if he gets offered a contract. I'm sure for him, he's probably trying to treat this like a fresh start. If you want to go over some of the stats, we did give him a long extension. We drafted him high. He was a consensus top 5 pick, and we did draft him, like I said, fairly high. So being top 10, top 5 even consensus, will get you taken pretty high and respected in a lot of league circles, especially coming out of the league and then having a modicum or at least a little bit of success in the league. His numbers were kind of staggered, though. So if you look at the numbers, 2011, his rookie year, of course, he came in the league with that suspension. Was it that year? I know he had a couple suspensions, so it's hard to follow. But he had a suspension for league substance abuse. 1 game his first time, and then I think it was 4. It may have even been 5 games the second time. As Stephen A. Smith would say, he just couldn't stay off the weed. That seemed like probably what the issue was, I'm guessing, and it's kind of funny now that it's legal, obviously, and at least here in New York State in Buffalo. But yeah, regardless, it's not used for NFL players aren't allowed to use it, and that's just how it is. I'm sure Josh Gordon isn't happy about that either. Josh Gordon's one of my favorite players, by the way. I've always rooted for that guy. Either way, 2011, 5.5 sacks, and tackles for loss are a big stat to me. 9 tackles for loss. Okay, so rookie year, obviously your top 5 pick. Guys aren't going to come out automatically with double-digit sacks. Some do, but most don't. Next year, okay, you start to get a little bit worried. 5.5 sacks again, 5 tackles for loss, so less numbers and in more games technically because he started 15 games. He played in all 16 games as a rook. Only started 15. Started and played in 16 games in 2012, and same numbers, a little bit less actually on the tackles for loss there. Less tackles as well. And next year, this is when you start to get a little excited. Okay, so next year, 14 games started, all 16 games again. It's good health-wise, obviously, at least. 7.5 sacks and 8 tackles for loss, okay? Get a little excited there. 71 combined tackles, 46 solo tackles, 25 assists. So it looks a little better there, right? He also got to a Pro Bowl that year. He was a Pro Bowl. That was his first Pro Bowl as a defensive tackle in the NFL. The next year, that's when you really start to see, like, okay, this is going to be exactly what we thought it was. It just took some time to get there, okay? That was 10 sacks. This is 2014. 2014, he was a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro. First team All-Pro, by the way. First team All-Pro and a Pro Bowler. His second consecutive Pro Bowl, not Pro Bowl, appearance. He had 10 sacks, and he had 12 tackles for loss, and 49 tackles jumped down, or the total tackles jumped down a little bit down to 49. He kind of went out of his mind there. That previous year was 71, but 49, like I said, All-Pro, Pro Bowl. You get excited, right? And then the next year happens. 15 games, 15 starts, 2 sacks, 5 tackles for loss. And you kind of come back to reality. But you think, the last 2 years, he's a Pro Bowler, is it All-Pro, first team All-Pro at that. Last year, sack numbers have been kind of consistent, pretty much going up on a steady incline after the first 2 years. Tackles for loss are what they are, but they were steadily, kind of staying in that range. The first year was 9, next year was 5, next year was 8, last year was 12. You're feeling good. Maybe it's just a down year, right? Next year comes. I think this is when one of the suspensions taking place. 7 games started, 8 games played in total. 3.5 sacks, not a low number. 5 tackles for loss. And then 2017 comes, Coach McDermott comes in, trust the process. We didn't really think that, Marcell Dareus was going to fit that, just with some of the issues he had, I guess you could say character-wise to an extent, or off-the-field issues is the best way to describe it. That's what they use. Off-the-field issues. For us that year, he had, he played in 5 games, started 3. He obviously was at the point where he had earned. I mean, we saw Sammy Watkins and Ronald Darby get traded out. Not saying they got traded out for character issues, but, McDermott and Bean were, they weren't fooling around. They were trying to make changes, change the culture. As we see now, in hindsight, that was amazing. It was great. I trusted in it fully. I've got the tattoo to prove it here. I got that trust the process tattoo maybe 2 weeks after Coach McDermott was hired. I like the saying. I've always I've heard of that before he was here, but when he said it, it kind of just made sense. I was like, I'm going to get this. It means a lot to me. Plus, I'm a huge Bills fan, and I wasn't really ready to get the Bills logo tattooed in that spot yet. So I was like, let me get this. I like this. Either way, not to get off topic, Marcell Dareus had 1 sack for us that year, 2 tackles for loss. He was then traded to Jacksonville for a 6th-round pick that was conditional 5th. It ended up becoming a 5th, which, fun fact, became Wyatt Teller. And then we traded that. We traded away Wyatt Teller and got a couple picks back. Brandon, in a sense, admitted that was probably a mistake on his part. Stuff like that happens. But either way, it was Marcell Dareus, right? He was like one of our own picks. This was a Marcell Dareus pick that turned into a 6th, turned into a 5th. And then he did. It's not like he picked up his play there. He started in 1 game, played in 9, had 1 sack, and 1 tackle for loss. Yeah. Next year, more of the same. Actually, less of the same. He had 1 sack and 2 tackles for loss. Okay, and the next year, this was his last year in the NFL. And I want to say, in 2018, it's not like he didn't get an opportunity. He had 1 sack and 2 tackles for loss, 15 games played, 15 games started. He was playing. He was a starter on that team, So there was an opportunity there, 32 tackles. Last year, 2019, 6 games started, 6 games played, of course. And not even a whole sack. He had half a sack and 1 tackle for loss. It's fairly pitiful for a guy that once was not only a Pro Bowler, but an All-Pro, first-team All-Pro, with double-digit sacks, double-digit tackles for loss, and a force to be reckoned with on a Buffalo Bills front that at that time was pretty good. So yeah, we'll see what happens in Baltimore. I personally don't think it's going to work out, but if there is one place that it could work out, it's Baltimore, as I mentioned. Really good defensive coaching there, really good defensive scheme there. I like a lot of young guys trying to prove themselves, and it's actually not even that. It's a perfect mixture of young guys trying to prove themselves and guys who have already proven themselves. I believe they signed. Oh, it's right at the tip of my tongue. Marcus Williams. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me. But Marcus Williams, I believe they signed Marcus Williams, and yeah, we'll see what happens there. They've already got Patrick Queen, who's a guy that I think, like I said, I'm a huge Orioles fan, so I'm within the Baltimore Ravens circle to an extent. Not that I'm a Ravens fan, obviously I'm not. Diehard Bills fan. No love for the Ravens, no love lost there, but I don't hate them. But their opponent at any given point. Patrick Queen's a guy they really want a lot more out of. They got Marlon Humphrey. They had a lot of ACL, a lot of really dire injuries last year that I think honestly was really the end and the demise of their season. Lamar Jackson got hurt down the stretch, but you had guys like Justice Hill went down, and J.K. Dobbins went down, and Marlon Humphrey went down, and Marcus Peters went down. I mean, it was just guy after guy after guy after guy after guy after guy after guy. You can only take so many hits, and we know that just from losing from one of our really top guys for the rest of the year, and that was Trey White. Might be even heard of this year. We felt that. Imagine how they felt. Take Trey White, times that times 2. Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey gone. I know Marlon Humphrey was definitely hurt. Marlon Humphrey gone. Other guys in the secondary gone as well. Earl Thomas might have been the year before, but either way, that's another guy that they lost. They swung big on and lost on. That's a story of our Baltimore fanship with not only the Ravens but the Orioles. Swing big on guys like a Chris Davis, who we are still paying, I believe, and you get nothing out of it. Mark Trumbo, more the same. Mark Trumbo was all right the years he was here, though. I take that back. He was okay for the money. Got a big contract regardless, though, right? So that's that. Marcell Dareus, you guys let me know in the comments on this video when it posts or now if you're watching, and let me know what you think about Marcell Dareus. We'll bring it back up again later on the show. I don't really have him indifferent to it, but I think that he has a chance to do well, and if there's one spot, it's Baltimore. Other spots, but I think Baltimore would probably be my top pick for him to go if he's going to try and make a comeback after 2 silent, not even silent, just non-existent years where he's not in the NFL. Next topic I want to talk about before we get into betting to wrap it up. We are going to have a 30-minute show tonight. No guests. I'm just going to do a little solo shot here, get a little quick information and content out there and see what you guys think. So the next one I want to talk about, just because I saw, was an interesting article on the Bills Wire by Nick Wojton, and it was titled "List of Buffalo Bills Players Who Are Still Free Agents." I thought I clicked on it. I want to see what it was about. See the names. Yeah. Jerry Hughes. That's one guy. That's the headliner. Emmanuel Sanders, Justin Zimmer, Cole Beasley, Darrell Williams, Star Lotulelei. Excuse me. AJ Klein. And this one's interesting to me. Christian Wade. Not interesting for the fact he hasn't got signed yet, but this was a guy that was tearing it up in the preseason a couple years back. I thought he was going to be successful, and I'll tell you why. And this may just be a mundane, really ignorant or broad way of thinking about it. But Christian Wade was a rugby player who converted to football, and long day, folks. Converted to football, and he seemed very willing to learn. He's very strong. He even had some breakaway speed. We saw that in the preseason. Obviously, playing against 4-string guys in the spots that he was coming in the third, late third, early fourth or late fourth quarter, even in some games. But I liked what I saw. I wanted to give him a chance at least. I wanted to see what he had. However, he just didn't make the cut. And bringing in Cook and Duke Johnson and already having Singletary and Moss trying to fight for his life on his roster spot life. There's just no room for Christian Wade. If things didn't work out, and obviously, I would never want this, but if things didn't work out, with Coach McDermott and the scheme and how we had all the success we've been having over the last couple of years, then maybe Christian Wade would be up here. Maybe he would get a shot, but there's just no way for him to crack this roster at this point. With where we're at, we're not at the point where we're giving former rugby player turned football players chances in the regular season. Would I like to see him and would I still like to see him? I mean, these are guys that can still come back. Keep in mind, would I still like to see him come back and maybe get a shot in the preseason and see if he can just wow us? Like he's really picked up football. He's really picked up the packages and he's really picked up the playbook. and he's really gotten some of his footwork and his mechanics down, and he's still got that a little bit of that breakaway speed and that cut speed, but he's got that almost like I almost thought that he would turn into what we thought that Zach Moss would be. Like I thought he'd be a strong guy, but have a touch of speed and a little bit of shiftiness, but more strength and like really use that. This guy's used to playing football with no pads essentially in rugby. So I thought he'd bring some of that and be like, oh, the pads are a bonus. I'm going to run you over, make a business decision like Zach Moss said, which hasn't really forced many business decisions, unfortunately, lately. But, is it something that, I thought Christian Wade would be able to, come in and just run people over, and it hasn't been that, but he hasn't really gotten the opportunity to do it either. So if it isn't here, I hope it's somewhere else. I like Christian Wade. I always did. I like the way he was with the media. I think he's got a chance to break on somewhere else, maybe a rebuilding team, kind of like where we were, maybe even the Giants with Coach Dable, right? We'll see what happens. Go to the next name. I'm going to talk about 3 of these names, and then I'll give a little bullet points on some of the other ones. Jerry Hughes. It's an interesting one. It gives the averages and it gives the age. Age is the big number. Age is the bigger number over what you're going to pay him, in my opinion. 33. Okay. $10.75 million last year. As we know, he was extended. He was finishing up the contract that he was on, that extension, of course. One second, my computer's going haywire here. He was really an anchor on that Buffalo Bills. Really the only, I don't want to say only, really the talent guy that you have. Like the guy you have on every team that's like got that talent. He's the name, right? Like he was the name for years on the Buffalo Bills front. Probably a guy that, in my opinion, if he was able to pick up some of the sack numbers, might be a future Wall of Famer. I'm not saying Hall of Famer, future Wall of Famer in the Buffalo Bills Wall of Fame. I don't know what it's going to look like. I wonder what's going to look like. We'll talk about that another day, but what's going to look like, what their new stadium's going to look like with recognition for former players. I'm interested to see that. Maybe are we going to see a different type of Wall of Fame? We're going to see banners, kind of like the Cleveland Indians do it, or are we going to see, are they going to rename it? Ring of Honor, kind of like I know the Chiefs do the Ring of Honor, I believe. I think the Ravens might do the Ring of Honor. I'm not exactly sure. We're going to see changes like that, though. Sorry, I'm yawning here. I don't know what's going on here. They say it's contagious. Maybe it is. But either way, yeah. And then we'll talk about maybe we get new statues. We have Ralph. I'm sure that Ralph is going to be either, if they're not going to use that stadium for something where they're going to leave Ralph there, and it's kind of like that spot where they want it to be like, this has been here for 50 years down the road, when obviously it's a fairly new statue in the last, if you look at the history of time and the history of the Buffalo Bills even. But are they going to put up like maybe a Jim Kelly statue, maybe like when we win the Super Bowl this year, like maybe a Josh Allen statue. Maybe a Josh Allen statue when we win the Super Bowl this year. That'd be cool, right? I'd like to see a Josh Allen statue. I think we will at some point in the future, barring some tragic incident, which, knock on wood, multiple times is not going to happen. Knock on wood. But, yeah, are we going to see something different with the stadium? Getting back to Jerry. Scary, scary Jerry. Not so scary the last couple of years, unfortunately. However, he is, and this is what PFF and people around me always tell, well, he is able to, he is able to force pressures. He does that, and then basically what Jerry is, someone who I would be interested to see him with Von Miller. With Von Miller on one side, Jerry on the other side. Not sure that would work, but Jerry on one side, Von Miller on the other side. If Jerry's forcing pressures, is Von's number's going to tick up or like go crazy, or like Ed Oliver's number's going to tick and go crazy. Like he's able to open opportunities for other guys because he brings pressure and forces the quarterback or the play in general to the other side or to the other gap or down the middle between the tackles. So maybe he has stats that don't show up on paper so much. I think he's going to catch on. This is not going to be Jerry Hughes' retirement. He's going to go somewhere else and play. Now, here's the thing. Is Jerry Hughes going to go somewhere else and play in a rebuilding system? That's a question. Or is he going to want to go to a winner? I mean, he's 33, right? He probably have a lot more shots at this thing. If there wasn't such a logjam in the Buffalo Bills system, I'm thinking that Jerry would probably take vet minimum at this point to come back and try and win a Super Bowl. I don't know how much he loves being, living in Buffalo or any of that stuff, but I know that he loves his teammates and he's a good teammate. Everything that I've seen, he's a leader. He was a captain numerous years on that defense and on that roster and that team, the organization. I'm sure he'd love to come back. Maybe he'll go back to the Colts. Maybe he'd want to go back to the Colts. Who knows? I don't know. Go back to the Colts and try and chase the Super Bowl. But there's going to be a team down the line that's going to be like, hey, maybe it's mid-year. Maybe it's right before the season starts, an injury comes and he signs with the contender. I wish all the best for Jerry. If he's on the Buffalo Bills, the Super Bowl, the Buffalo Bills this year, I hope that he wins the Super Bowl. Any other team, sorry, not this year for you, Jerry, but hope you do well and you have success in your career. But I'd love to see him come back if a spot is open at some point and maybe we make a trade or for a pick or something like that, or Epinesa gets traded, something. We'll see what happens. I think Jerry would be fine being rotational, just being a piece on this defense, almost like a Kyle Williams. Kyle was pretty effective even until he retired, but almost like a Kyle Williams type of player where he's here more for leadership and teaching those young guys. Because, yeah, having Von Miller is great, but why not have a Von Miller and a Jerry Hughes teaching our young guys? I love the idea of it. Not to mention they have some chemistry. And they already kind of respect Jerry because they know him. He's been the leader there. So that's that. Last player I want to talk about from this list, and here's the names. Emmanuel Sanders, Justin Zimmer, Cole Beasley, Darrell Williams, Star Lutulele. I still can't get this after years, right? Star Lutulele and A.J. Klein. Okay. Guy I want to talk about. Post-draft. I think I want to talk about Darrell Williams or Justin Zimmer. Both of them. Darrell Williams, Justin Zimmer. I think we can use both for depth. Now, yeah, we made some signings. Justin Zimmer's kind of not, so needed there. But he's a guy that brings that spark, brings that fire. He plays 100% on every play. And he's the guy that kind of meets that McDermott makeup, in my opinion. So I could see if there's an injury that goes down, or even maybe if we can somehow sneak – I don't think you're going to sneak on the practice squad, but if you can sneak a guy like that in the practice squad with the new rules they have, that'd be cool as well. Darrell Williams is the guy I want strictly for depth. I want to have as many offensive tackles in there as possible, so I'm not seeing Cody Ford in there. I'm sorry, Cody. I love you because you're a Bill, but I just don't love your play. It's not consistent enough, and it's not good enough for me to want you out there. Not saying Darrell Williams is a god and he's great, but I'd love to see a veteran out there that has shown that he has success over different multiple years in different periods of time in the NFL. It's as simple as that. What is he going to take? I don't know. He got $8 million last year. Will he take a deal? Well, we're at the point now where we can start actually saying this and not being like, just because we win the playoffs one year, or will he take a deal to stay in Buffalo? No, will he take a deal to stay in Buffalo, number one, and be with the best fan base in the world? And number two, will he take a deal to try and win a Super Bowl? Because that's what they're doing this year. Knock on wood. I say that a lot if you haven't noticed. But yeah, I love to see Darrell Williams come back, and just be added there just to bolster that offensive line. Yeah, that's what we got for Bills content today, folks. Exciting stuff. I cannot wait for the season to start. I'm already 2 or 3 payments in. I do the payment plan because, the way I look at it with the Bills season tickets, why not do a payment plan? Because you can pay in full, or you can pay in overpayments and not get a single penny of interest. I think the only difference is I don't get like the paper tickets, which I'm thinking about maybe doing next year. Can I do on paper tickets? But yeah, that's that. Either way, I'm 2 or 3 payments into my season tickets, and we're getting closer. I think once I get to about like the 5th or 6th payment, I'm going to preseason games. I do go to one preseason game. I can't bring myself to go to the other one because I get too hyped and too excited. I want the kids to enjoy that, so I give my tickets away. I usually donate them to charity. Quick shout out here, Waddle's Warriors. I donated them there for a while while Adrian Waddle was here, working with his wife, Chief Waddle. But yeah, I donated tickets there, I think twice, maybe 2, 3 times. Just to give tickets away to people that can really use them and enjoy them. So that just a side note there. I'm not sure if they still work within the Buffalo community, the Waddles Warriors, but either way, great organization, great foundation. They support veterans and whatnot. So good people, good organization, great people. So let's talk bets. Let's talk money. Let's talk dollars. Let's talk cheese. Let's talk cheddar. Let's talk turkey. Okay, let's see what we got. Got 4 bets for you. Actually, I've got 5. Got 5 bets for you. Change your mind. I got 4 bets for you. 3 are single picks, and I got a parlay. We're back with the parlays. Haven't had a parlay for you guys in a while that I liked. Been winning some parlays, but like I said, if I don't feel good about it, I'm not giving it to you. I won some. They got lucky. You get lucky. Sometimes you get really unlucky, and I've seen people hit like 12 leggers, and the 13 leg doesn't hit, and they're like pissed they didn't cash it out. Which is why I use FanDuel, by the way. FanDuel gives you live cash out options. They're not always the greatest, but gives you a chance to win some money. If you're better like me, I want to take safe picks. If it's 3-2 and a dog is winning in the NHL, and I'm getting offered a cash out with 100% profit on it, I'm taking that money back. Give me that, please. I'll take that all day. Even if I do and I would have won the bet later on, I'm taking that money back. Got to bet smart. And we're going to talk about betting equations and equations and strategies and methods and methodology of betting, because it's legal in New York. And it's becoming bigger and bigger every single day. However, for now, we're going to stick with these picks we got here, and I'm going to start tweeting some picks out throughout the week if I like them. Baseball's really in swing. I want to get you guys betting baseball because there's a lot of money to be made there. Dogs can win any day in that, which is good if you bet, dogs, and obviously not so great if you're always betting favorites, but you should never always bet favorites. You should follow the numbers and where the numbers take you. And we're going to talk more about that in a couple weeks. And I'm going to get you guys to be expert bettors. We're going to all make a bunch of money, and we're all going to be happy, right? And then we're going to make a bunch of money so we can buy Bill's Super Bowl tickets. Not going to win. First of the bets I got here. Okay. First bet. The New York Skankies. I hate the Yankees. If you see my Twitter feed, you know that. I don't seek out talking garbage to Yankees, and you don't have to, because a lot of times their fans will just come and bother you for no reason, as they've done numerous times to myself and anybody that I know for any teams. I mean, they may even bother their own fans. They do. Actually, when they had Gary Sanchez last year, they would kind of get on each other about how much they hated him or how much they loved him or how much they just kind of were indifferent to him, and it just wasn't good enough for Yankees fans. Because if you know a Yankees fan, they just kind of want to keep drilling into you, and they love those two words there. I guess number in a word that's 27 rings. And my response to that is always how many in your lifetime. And a lot of times they either don't know or both. They don't know the answer, or they it's a very low number because they're referencing times when Babe Ruth was out there drinking beers, smoking cigars, and eating hot dogs and hitting home runs. That's the times they're referencing teams that they can't even name 2 or 3 players from. So enough of my Yankees hate. I'm going to give you a Yankees bet. I am betting the Yanks tomorrow. Garrett Cole is on the bump with Dane Dunning in Texas. Not in Texas, but against Texas. Game is in Yankee Stadium. I'll give them one thing. They do have a nice stadium, other than the fact that it's a Little League park with very small dimensions, and home runs are usually pop flies in other stadiums. However, I'm taking the Yanks tomorrow -1.5. It is a day game, as most Sunday games are. Sunday, 1:36 tomorrow. It's Garrett Cole in the bump against Dane Dunning. I'm taking -1.5 here. The money line is -235. There's no value there, guys. I'm not taking that. It's too much of a risk. There's a lot of risk, not much reward. I do like the -1.5, though. The Yanks are really hot, as much as I hate to admit it. They're really hot. They're probably one of the better top 5. No, their record says they're the best team in the league, I believe, but they're definitely a top 5 team. The Dodgers, they're nowhere near as good as the Dodgers, but they have a good record. I'm taking a -1.5 tomorrow. I see them winning big, like 9-6, something like that, with a bunch of piss missiles getting hit out of the Little League Stadium there in Williamsport. I mean, in the Bronx. Sorry, got confused there because it looks like a Little League Stadium with the dimensions. However, I got him -1.5 tomorrow, -110. $50 bet pays out $43.56. Next bet. Now we'll get to a good baseball team. The Baltimore Orioles. They got Jordan Lyles. They got a doubleheader tomorrow, but they got Jordan Lyles on the bump against Dane Lynch. Could be saying that wrong. Might be Dustin Lynch. But D Lynch, regardless. That's a pick'em game. They got the Royals at -108 on the money line, and they got Baltimore at -108 on the money line. Jordan Lyles is a guy that's very temperamental, okay? So he's going to give you a lot of innings regardless of what he does. He's going to give you a lot of pitches, whatever he does. He's got a lot of length. That's why the Orioles signed him, veteran with length. However, he's either going to give you a great outing or a bad outing. And I think tomorrow's going to be a good outing. They've had a lot of days off. He seems to be kind of feeling that loss of John Means and really picking up his play, picking up his numbers all around, really. And I'm so far, I'm happy with the signing. They gave him $7 million, by far the most they give any free agent this year. They trust in him, so I trust in him. We'll see what happens here. I got the O's -108 tomorrow on the money line, and that would be $50, pays you out $44.02. $46.02. My New York Yankees bet was $50, just to correct that, because I know I said 43. $50 pays out $44.98. So those are our 2 single bets we got so far today. The third bet, and this is something that I would give you guys. This isn't the parlay I'm going to give you, but I'm going to suggest another parlay as well. I've got the Baltimore Orioles are playing their doubleheader tomorrow, like I said. Sunday at 5:36 is the estimated start. It could change because of the first inning game. Of course, they're both 9-inning games now, so 18 innings of baseball, Oriole baseball tomorrow. I am pumped to see that. We got Zach Greinke on the bump, veteran guy coming back to finish out his career with KC, team he started with, I believe. And Baltimore Orioles have Bruce, the ace, knock on wood, Zimmerman, who has stepped up. He's the mini John Means, looks like a mini John Means, pitches like a mini John Means. He's stepped up in the absence of John Means. Obviously, John Means is getting Tommy John surgery. Hoping he comes back some point next year, stronger and better than ever. I've read mixed results. Some people say you don't come back from Tommy John. Some people say when you do come back, you come back even better than Tommy John. So let's see what happens. John Means has been struggling with those injuries for a while now. I'm happy to see he's finally getting it all corrected, and we can kind of get back on track. And he'll be back right around the time the Orioles are pushing for the World Series next year. So that'll be awesome, right? Anyways, Bruce Zimmerman on the bump tomorrow. The O's are the favorite in that second game, -120. Sorry, I lost my computer screen there for a second. Minus 120. I got the O's winning that game too. $50 pays out 41-26. That's a good bet. I like that. And the parlay, if you guys have already guessed it, I'm taking the O's to win that. Clean sweep for the O's tomorrow. Minus 108 in the first game with Lyles in the bump, and minus 120 with Bruce Irvin in the bump tomorrow. That would add to, give me 1 second, and I will give you the numbers. If FanDuel doesn't want to keep acting corny and weird. Let's see what we got here. 1 second here, folks. Okay, that is not what I wanted. I didn't want to see my team losing by 10. Give me a second here. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Okay, tomorrow, that would give us odds. If we parlayed that minus 108 minus 120, that would give us odds of plus 200, just over 200, so plus 203. Now, if we take that, $50 would pay out $100 in profit because you get double what you put in. Plus, you're getting $50 back, right? So I say it's a good bet. I'd take it probably. Not probably. I am taking it. I'm going to take it right now. I'm going to cash it in right now. There we go. I locked it in. I took it for $20. $20 pays out 40. $50 just a reference I give you. You don't have to bet that much if you don't like. Bet more if you want. Bet less. You bet $1 if you want. Care less. Either way, if you're winning money, I'm happy. Now, the second last bet we have, the last single bet we have. This is interesting. Tomorrow, 4:40 p.m. Eastern time, we got the Leafs and the Lightning facing off. Okay, now the Leafs haven't won a playoff series. Every Sabres fan knows this stat. Since the Sabres last won a playoff series, I believe. Always put a good team together. They're like and everybody I talk to, I'm like, oh, they're like the Yankees of the NHL. They're like, oh, I've heard that before. So that must be a common theme. Probably just because they have a pretty star-studded lineup and they always spend right to the cap. Generally, they're not afraid to spend money and bring in studs. They're not afraid of development either. They've run guys up through the ranks. That's how you get a lot of studs like that, and you're able to afford something like that. Mitch Marner, who was cold through the playoffs. He scored his first goal a couple nights back, I believe, in the first game. Leafs wrecked him in the first game. It was a jumping Air Canada Center. However, tomorrow I've got the Lightning coming back. I know the Leafs just put a lick on them, I believe, the other night, so I've got the Lightning coming back. It's in the Lightning building. The Lightning are minus 120. They're the favorites, but they are minus 120. $50 a payout, roughly, again, between $40 and $42, something in that ballpark. I'm taking them to win, come back. This is going to be a good series. I mean, it's been a good series, guys. The Leafs throw them a punch in the mouth, and then the Lightning come back and throw them a haymaker in the mouth. And then the Leafs come back and punch in the mouth. And then the Lightning are going to come back and do it. And I think this is something we can see going to Game 7 and being decided. I think that would be in Toronto. And that could be a crazy atmosphere. So we'll see what happens because, Tampa Bay fans, nothing like Tampa Bay, like hockey in Tampa Bay. They don't care about their perennial World Series. Dirt cheap Moneyball type of amazing development system that they have in Tampa Bay Rays and how they're perennial World Series team or World Series contender, but they do care a lot about their Stanley Cup double champions, double back-to-back champions in Tampa Bay Lightning. So we'll see what happens there. The last one I have is my parlay. I've got Edmonton Oilers over the Los Angeles Kings tomorrow, minus 152 on money line. I got the Florida Panthers at Washington Capitals over Washington Capitals as well, minus 172, and I got the Colorado Avalanche for good measure at minus 275 in Nashville. So that is what I like to call the Road Warriors parlay special. And that's 3 teams that are playing on the road, and all 3 of them are gonna win. And that gives you plus 257 odds. Okay. So if we put $100 on that, okay, right, $100, that's gonna pay out 257 in profit. Plus we're gonna get our 100 back. So we get put down $100, get back 357. Our $100 we just put in the 257 in profit. I really like that bet. I am taking it, and I'm gonna put $100 on. I'm putting good money on this one, guys. I really like this bet. We'll see what happens with it. But I really like it. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going down. That has been your picks and parlays from Jay Don't Fade. Don't fade. We'll see what happens here. Guys, that's what I've got for now. That is booked with the back door for this week. Join us again next week at 9 o'clock. We're going to have a really interesting guest on. I think you guys are going to like him. We're going to be talking some football and some upcoming Bills football because we're going to try and get back to doing a lot of Bills talk here, and we're going to have some really interesting bets for you. And then the week after that, I plan on doing the methodology and a real big breakdown equation of how betting works. So maybe you guys can understand a little bit more. So when I'm giving you bets, you don't think I'm just throwing numbers at you, and you can see where I'm getting my numbers, my bets, my picks from, and how I win money every single day. So till then, guys, go Bills, Go bet at the bank it with the back door, win that money. Have a good day.